That's not a promise, that is delivery. No matter which political party you have supported in the past, this election is about Jamaica's future. We are doing more for you, and we are not done yet. Jamaica is moving forward, and we must keep building. The Jamaica Labour Party has a strong team that is getting the job done. We are committed to you, your family, your future, and to Jamaica land we love. I am Andrew Holness. Put your X beside the bell.
For over 30 years, we here in Jamaica have been gripped by persistent violent crime. This Jamaica Labour Party administration said, enough is enough. Under the leadership of Prime Minister Andrew Holness and the National Security Minister, Dr. Horace Chang, we've made the largest investment in national security in Jamaica's history. We've upgraded police stations, improved border security, added boots on the ground, equipped our security forces with better training, intelligence, and tools. We've changed the law, tougher penalties for illegal guns, stronger anti-gang legislation, longer sentences for murder, and the results? For the first time in 30 years, murders in Jamaica are projected to fall below 800. So when it comes to safety for your family, for your children, for your community, choose strength, choose security, choose the Jamaica Labour Party.
Jamaica. For far too long, bad roads have burdened our communities. PMP once promised pothole-free Jamaica by 2003. That didn't work out for you. This Jamaica Labour Party government is different. We're not just talking, we're working, building your roads, delivering results. Under the Spark program, we're investing $45 billion of your money to build over 600 new roads in your communities. New sidewalks, drains, water pipes, and so much more. By November, we will complete the first 100 across all 14 parishes. This is for you, your communities, your roads, your future. We will get it done. Choose performance. Choose Jamaica. Choose the Jamaica Labour Party.
We do so much already, now we doing more. Jamaica Labour Party, yes, we doing more. JLP doing more.
Good afternoon and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Jamaicans at home and abroad to this another media briefing of the Jamaica Labour Party campaign as we look ahead to the September 3 general elections. I am campaign spokesman Marlon Morgan, and with me this afternoon are of course our campaign director, Dr. the Honorable Christopher Tufton. To his immediate right is our finance minister, the Honorable Favour Williams, and to Minister Williams's right is our Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, but in her capacity here as the chairperson for our Achievements and Manifesto Committee, the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I would just like to indicate that our media briefing today seeks to focus attention, as per usual, on an update on the conduct of our campaign, matters pertinent to the campaign thus far, and of course, having regard to this past Sunday's memorable and epochal launch of our I Choose Jamaica Next Chapter Manifesto, we'll be treating with our manifesto, our top 100 achievements, and of course, our education pullout. And we'll also treat with other matters arising, hence Minister Williams being with us in respect of some specific proposals we're making and commitments we're giving to you, the Jamaican people, as we look ahead to a third successive term of an Andrew Holness-led Jamaica Labour Party government. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I turn over now to Dr. Christopher Tufton for his update.
Thank you very much, Marlon, and hello to my colleagues and to those who are here in the room and those in the stratosphere, for want of a better terminology. I want to thank you for being here and for coming online, and my apologies on behalf of the team for the lateness in the start. So you would have, as Marlon said, you would have recognized by now that we do have periodic updates, meeting with the media to give an update on the campaign, as well as to hear from the media what their views are and any questions that they have. So this is one such. As we draw closer to the September 3rd date, we are, up to this point, very pleased with the team and with the campaign, the approach to the campaign, the nature of the campaign, and what we had planned and the implementation of those plans. You would recall, by way of context, that we spent the first few weeks looking at our achievements, captured in a document with 256 achievements, just some of the achievements of the Jamaica Labour Party led by Andrew Holness during the 9 years plus of the administration. And we thought that was very relevant because it was important to communicate to the Jamaican people that we have provided leadership and valuable leadership that augurs well to their benefit in a number of ways. And we didn't want to divert the focus from that. We thought that was necessary. And so a number of activities were centered around that, including our media campaign, interviews, discussions, and of course the document and the launch of the document itself and distribution. We, on Sunday, in Sam Sharp Square, Montego Bay, we had our second mass meeting, the first, of course, being in Halfway Tree. It was a very successful meeting. The turnout was very good. Sam Sharp Square was packed, for those of you who may have been there. Excellently organized, and I want to thank the team who were on the ground and coordinated the logistics and the organization. Very professional, very peaceful, very safe, and the presentations were centered primarily around the manifesto, which was launched at that event. We do take note that others were critical. We brushed that aside as being irrelevant because our program is different from theirs and valuably more so, we think. We think there is value in presenting our manifesto in the context of a large audience. And indeed, our meetings are open to the general public, even though, of course, they are attended primarily by party supporters. Beyond that, though, the streaming of the event and the presentations led by our campaign, our manifesto chair, we thought was novel and unusual, and we felt that it reached a large population, so it was not just about those in Sam Sharp Square. It was about those in the diaspora, those in parishes. In fact, the feedback that I've gotten, and others too, suggests that it was a far more effective way to communicate what the Labour Party intends to do in the next chapter, as the title suggests, or subtitle. And a lot of persons were able to at least hear some of that, as opposed to what happened elsewhere. So we are very comfortable, and we felt that it went well, and the feedback has been very positive. We did say it was not, the launch was not an event, it was a series of events, and so there'll be other ways to expose the document. And momentarily, Senator, Minister, and Chairperson of the Manifesto Committee will give some additional insights beyond what she did so eloquently and very well on Sunday in Sam Sharp Square. The speakers also focused to a large extent on the manifesto. In other words, we have pivoted from just focusing on achievements to focusing now on what we intend to do going into a third term. And we're hoping that by doing so, the Jamaican people, who are very discerning, who we respect their capacity to understand and to speak with experience based on what we have done, will see not just the Labour Party of the past, but the Labour Party government of the future. So that's where we are. Our team members are in the field. We're continuing to do tours, tighten up the organization, communicating with the voters, and the feedback has been overwhelming. I'm really pleased with how the momentum is galvanizing, and we're pretty confident that the Jamaican people see in us, with confidence, a credibility that is required to take us through to the third term. I say so with the utmost humility and respect for their judgment, but I have to reflect the feedback that I have picked up and been picking up, and we will continue to make the case for their support on the third. The other point I'd like to raise is that we have embarked on the debates, the political debates. We had the first one. We felt that our team did exceptionally well. That was the social issues. They brought out the points that were necessary, and they did not consume themselves with distractions, if you will, for want of a better word, but instead focused on what we have been doing as a party, as a government, and what we intend to do going forward. Last night, you would have seen the debate on the economy, and two of those members are here. I thought, and we think that we also had a good debate, a good discussion, had an opportunity to speak to the Jamaican people on a range of issues. A lot of cut and thrust of the style and approach, that's what you expect in these types of environments. However, we believe that we have been able to put forward a series of proposals as part of the series of events around our manifesto and also our achievements. So we're comfortable with that. There were a couple of things that came out in the discussion which, given the opportunity here, I'd like to just quickly comment on. There was a constant mention, and in particular, one member, Mr. Bunting, around an illicit enrichment, citing numbers and pointing fingers, if not explicitly, implicitly. In fact, I've seen on social media questions being directed directly to myself in one particular instance, to the Prime Minister, and also just making generalized statements. It's for us, it comes across in no uncertain way as a desperate last-ditch attempt by the PNP to smear the Jamaica Labour Party as an organization, and indeed its members, and indeed to weaponize, whether it's the IC or reports from the IC or just rumor mongering in order to win votes. We know there's a lot at stake on September 3rd. We understand that. They have been in the wilderness for a while. They're desperate. They have pursued a campaign that is angry. I've never discerned in a campaign, in the legitimate course of our democracy, so much anger coming from a platform as I see from the Orange Army. We have tried our best to restrain ourselves and to restrict ourselves and our members from responding in like kind. The rhetoric, that is. Now, some of that is always going to happen, so don't get me wrong. I'm not asking for a sanitized, pure setting. There's the jabs that will come for laughs or for just keeping it interesting. But at the end of the day, when you make allegations against persons and challenge their reputation, it's very important that we respond to that. And indeed, if it becomes libelous, then action should be taken, and let the courts decide if you think that you have not. And we believe in the justice system to do so. But those allegations around illicit 11-man pointing fingers we think are baseless. We have no evidence or information to suggest that this is in fact the case. And we want to reject them outrightly and to say to the Jamaican people, do not be distracted by these desperate attempts to gain traction from a political organization, the PNP, that is clearly fading. because they do not represent the interests of the Jamaican people. And I want to just make that clear. The other point that was raised that is worth noting was the point around Cornwall Regional, and this is specifically raised by Julian Robinson, the opposition spokesperson on finance. I have no issues with debating Cornwall, never have. And in fact, on several occasions, I have as minister. And as a government, we are proud of taking the bold decision to fix one of the most important hospitals in the country that was on the verge of collapse when we assumed office and ultimately went into a coma shortly after assuming office. And this idea or insinuation that the cost related to this fix is somehow a corrupt act, I want to reject outrightly, because this is not the case. The costings around Cornwall were not done by government officials, certainly not by me and no other government officials. The costings were done by technically qualified persons, some local, some overseas, who were hired to do the costings. And those costings are itemized. Every stone, every nail, every window, every door, every flooring, and every piece of waste material that was removed from that building. And so I want to disabuse the Jamaican people, whomever may be inclined to think on what has been insinuated, that we don't determine cost of a project. The project is a function of a process, a procurement process, and technically qualified persons to go through that process. Ultimately, it's about building a new hospital. And that's what it is. So the positives around this is that the people of Western Jamaica will get a new hospital. They'll get a new hospital with more operating theaters, more beds, twice the size of the A&E, a cleaner, properly equipped hospital with more diagnostic equipment than ever before. And beside that, with Western Child and Adolescent Hospital, a new hospital, it will be the largest concentration of hospital beds in the Caribbean, 800 plus, which has never been replicated in the country and indeed in the Caribbean. So yes, it has taken a while, because that's what brownfield sites are about. You start fixing one thing, you hear you have to fix something else. And yes, there has had to be a rescoping of the project, very important, not cost overrun, but a rescoping, because the government took the bold decision to fix once and for all. And so I just want to address that. Beyond that, I close by saying that there are so many positives around what is good with Jamaica that will allow us to look positively about the future. And that's the real issue. The issue is not about character assassination, insinuation, innuendos, and so on. The issue is 2025, having served for 9+ years, is the average Jamaican better off or have a more positive outlook about the future than they were in 2015 under the PNP? And there are hundreds of reasons why it is worth thinking positively about the future, and also how persons within their communities have benefited under this Jamaica Labour Party government. The debt reduction, the crime reduction, the unemployment, more persons in the labor force, the training, the rural communities with water, the roads, the farmers, and I could go on and on. And our case has been to this point built on the policies and the programs of the government. And we intend with this pivot to focus in the next number of days on the positives that we will deliver in the next term. And so we ask the Jamaican people to sift through the noise and focus on the realities. Don't be distracted by the promises. Be influenced by the commitments and the deliverables that the Labour Party has so far delivered. I want to close here, hand back to the chairman.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Tufton, for those updates and remarks concerning our campaign. And just now to hand over, I used the words momentous and epochal earlier to describe the launch of our manifesto this past Sunday. I forgot to throw in the word innovative, because it really was very innovative and refreshing. And so without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I now turn over to the Honorable Kamina Johnson-Smith in her capacity as the chairperson for our Achievement and Manifesto Committee for her remarks at this afternoon's media briefing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator, and I start always by not only greeting everyone here with us and welcoming you, but also to greet everyone who's joining us online and joining us from overseas or diaspora. I have to say, you have been amazing in your support of the website, or let me say, your interest, especially in the interactive map. I'm happy to advise that when we launched our website on Thursday last week, by Thursday night, we had more than 425,000 visits to the website. Wow. And with particular interest on the map. And since then, it's continued to grow. As at Sunday, it was over 750,000 persons, 750,000 hits. We have not only continued to have hits and interest and downloads of our achievement documents, but we've also had thousands of downloads of our manifesto since launch. Not only people who are viewing, but we've had thousands of downloads of all three documents. And just by way of reminder, as they're here visible before you, there's our full next chapter, I Choose Jamaica, the next chapter manifesto. There's also our 100 highlights, and there's also our education manifesto. It's a manifesto, but I like to call it my manifesto. People think I'm silly, but it is a smaller document.